Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry I've not been around for a little while. A nasty cold season struck us, or it might even have been COVID. Not entirely sure. So yes, life got put a little bit on hold for a couple of weeks. But I am back. And mostly today's video is a sort of the next stage of where I've got to with planning my wardrobe. Obviously with sewing in mind, using this book here, the Curated Closet. It's so dark in here, I've had to use a light for once, so I've got a funny feeling that you can't actually see that. Anyway, so yes, mostly I'm going to be going through this, but before I do that, just thought I'd give you a quick update where I got to with my jacket. I am almost finished. Haven't been doing any sewing except a little bit over the weekend. It was really nice to get back in here, I have to say. So here we are. Let me just grab it. So a trusty mannequin. It's all, the shell of it is done. The sleeves are on. It's got faux buttons. I mean, they're not faux buttons, they're real buttons, but it doesn't, it doesn't actually open. Which, to be honest, if I was making this again, I probably wouldn't stitch all the way down on the sleeve. I would make that look like it was an opening, even if it's not. Anyway, the shoulder pads are in, the lining is in. I didn't follow the instructions to bag out the lining. I hate bagging out linings. I have hand stitched that all in. That's not true. I did bag it out on the sleeves, but I hand stitched it in on the hem here. Spent a lot of time where Lola is sitting hand sewing, and so far so good. So I was a little bit concerned because, if you might remember, it was a little bit snug on me, that putting the shoulder pads in might make it too tight, but in fact it's fine. Actually, I'll show you, hold on, I can take this off. I've got to now do a final press. I haven't yet put the button in, it's just a single button. I've got one standing by to go in. Hold on. So yeah, it still needs a final press, and then I think it's looking good, though I say it myself. And once I've done the final press and the buttonhole, and I also need to decide whether, it kind of gives you the option whether you want to top stitch all around the lapel, and I haven't entirely decided. I think I probably will, but I haven't entirely decided. So yeah, I've got that to do. So it's not much more, just probably an hour or two of work to do, and then I'm done, which is great. It was quite involved, as you know. So, Curated Closet. Where we left off, because I know lots of you have bought the book or dug it out because you already had it. Where we left off was the first stage, or the next stage was to document everything that you were wearing for a couple of weeks. I've obviously gone well over a couple of weeks. And then the stage after that is to gather inspiration, and I had decided to sort of combine the two because I am naturally very impatient. So what we'll do is I will go to the computer and show you, because what I did was I took all the photographs, mostly mirror selfies. First thing, I learned a lot, but the first thing I learned is I do not know how to take a mirror selfie. I probably ought to have looked it up, because yeah, I definitely found, depending on where the camera was, you get funny angles, and sometimes it's hard to see the shape of what you're wearing. You know, it gets all distorted. So forgive me, there are some truly dreadful photographs in here. Also, the other thing I would say is that I've been in a bit of a funny position with my wardrobe, because there are lots of things that I was wearing last year that no longer fit me. So a lot of stuff has been put to one side, and I also hadn't yet got all my winter things out of the cellar. They're on open shelves, so I had been going down there and digging out bits and pieces, but I hadn't done the full swap over, which I only managed to do just this weekend gone by. Having said that, there wasn't a great deal of stuff that came back upstairs again because I've lost weight and a lot of things are no longer fitting. So I'm going to move over to my computer and show you in Milanote, where I've basically thrown all the photographs, and we can see. Just forgive the poor photography skills. So this is Milanote. I don't have any affiliation to them at all, but I found it to be a really good app or website for, I think it's designed to be for project management for businesses, but it has this mood board facility that I find to be really good. So this board here is the dreadful photographs of me. Quite a lot of it is jeans. So at the beginning, the weather was a little bit better, and then as the last couple of weeks gone by, it has got progressively more wintry. So this is a pretty standard me in my jeans, just wandering around mode. Nothing me made there at all. I quite like looking at, one of the things I was looking at was how some of my favourite colours work for me. So there was a bit of that going on. See what I mean? Dreadful photograph. This is obviously me on another day with my trusty Doc Martens, and I had made the bed, that's good. And then the same outfit, but seeing what it looked like with a jacket on, and hold on, you see this one is a black handbag, and this one I used a green handbag that I thought was potentially matching the green on the jumper to see how I felt about that. So I've been doing a bit of that kind of thing. I had some days like this that are pretty nondescript. Yeah, this is all variations of jeans and a jumper or a t-shirt. This is my trusty green linen shirt that I've shown you before and said I just adore the colour of this, and lots of people have given me some pointers of where to look. I'm still not managed to find anything that's exactly that shade. I was feeling very pleased with myself for matching my shirt with my trainers. But also I'm looking at things like these are wide leg jeans, which is something I've only started to wear a bit more recently. How do I feel about wearing wide leg jeans as opposed to things like these ones or these ones which are even tighter? I was looking at the colour of this jumper here and that kind of thing. This time I've got this is a Merchant and Mills parka that I made quite a long time ago. That is like a fleece back fabric, so it's not lined, but it's super warm, and that is a typical dog walking coat for me. Doesn't have a hood, although they do now have a hood expansion for this pattern. They didn't when I made it. I was looking at things like these jeans that I mentioned the other week, that are ones I've had since the 90s, and I'm really feeling very pleased with myself. A, for fitting in them, and B, for holding on to them all this time. And I love them, and I love these patch pockets on the front, but the reason I took a photo of this one is that the only downside of them being left over from the 90s is that they are very low-waisted, and you can see there's a bit of tummy sticking out here every time I raised my arm with this jumper. That felt very uncomfortable. I didn't like that. So it was kind of useful because it's the sort of thing that I probably would forget about, because I'm very forgetful, and every time I put the jeans on I'd think, something about wearing these I'm not comfortable with, and it's that. So now I've kind of documented it, and I'm a bit firmer in my head that if I'm wearing these jeans I need to wear something longer that I don't have to worry about is going to be showing bits of my tummy every time I put my arm up. So yeah, you can see it's all variation on a theme. Some of the time I was trying different shoes. I absolutely adore these Ugg slippers, and I know they're supposed to be slippers, but I have worn them out of the house. Probably wouldn't on a rainy day. This coat is another old favourite at this time of year. It's the Stylark Parker coat that I made out of boiled wool quite a few years ago now. Is a great one that regularly comes out and gets thrown on. It's because it's made of boiled wool, it's quite warm. Again, it's unlined, but it is very much that kind of easy throw on kind of a thing. Yeah, again, just checking colours. That's my Arvo shirt that I made recently. When I took this one, I also took a photo of it with the neckline so that it wasn't open. Hold on, it'll be in here in the unsorted photos. There's a better one. There we go. So, yeah, same outfit, but I just wanted to see, because in my mind, I think it works better for me when I have an open neck than when I have it closed at the neck. And doing this comparison has taught me that, yes, I do think that is true. I don't think I suit anything that's too high up around the neck. And I was also doing things like, so look, this one here with this knitted sweater vest, I was looking at how does it look like when it's full length as opposed to, is there one of it? No. Somewhere there will be one. Anyway, but as opposed to that, like here, where I folded it under and made it a little bit shorter, which looks better, and I think it's the shorter version. That's also folded under there. So I had a good old play. So I've put that there because it's basically the reason these ones are in the unsorted pile is because they are versions where I think it didn't look so good. Same with that one. You see, look, that's the jumper full length. And where is it? And that's where I've folded it under. So it's only a minimal difference, but I think that this looks better than this. So it's been really useful to have a play and do all of that. I enjoyed this jumper. I haven't worn for a couple of years. It's all got creases in it because it's been stored. I had a point where I had so many grey jumpers I got bored of them, and so I kept hold of the better quality ones but just stopped wearing them. And then I've been seeing lots of stuff recently about grey making a comeback, so I dug it out to see, do I still love it? And the answer was yes, so it's gone back in the wardrobe. Anyway, so that was all the variations of jeans. Then I have these cargo pants. So these photos here are earlier than these photos here, and the difference is that with this one I was really enjoying wearing them, but what I found was as I was walking around during the day they were rising up my leg, and I couldn't work out, was that because they were a tiny bit short, or was it that the cuffing was a tiny bit tight? Because I'd walk around, they'd increasingly go up my leg, and then I had to do some sort of unattractive shaky thing to get them down, culminating in this really hideous photo here when I went to this is the toilets of the Everyman Cinema, just to demonstrate, look how up my legs they were stuck, and it just looked awful. So had I not done this process, I think that eventually these would have just gone to the charity shop. But what I thought to myself was, why don't I see if I can do anything about it? So I took the cuffing off, unpicked them, took as much of the hem down. I managed to make them about 2 centimetres longer, and then I re-put the elastic in but made it looser, and now they don't do it. They don't run up my legs, and I now feel that I'm much more confident wearing them. This little set here, the reason I took 3 is, I don't know if you can see, but I was trying different handbag options. So it's been really interesting from that point of view. I think, which one do I think? Actually, I think this one here. But yeah, interesting to kind of have a little play with that. And as you can see, I'm also looking at what happens with something tucked in, what happens with a big jumper, what happens with a lighter jumper but a layer underneath. You know, different jackets. This is a jacket that I made. This one isn't. Then wide legs. So, oh yeah, there we are. There it is with the sweater vest turned under. These are these grey trousers are Ponte trousers that I sort of cobbled together myself, and that's what I want to replicate. Definitely want another pair of them because they are super, super comfy, and I love the wide legs. And what I've found that actually my most favourite outfit out of all these to wear is this, which is contrary to what most style people would say to do. I'm sure they would say because the legs are wider you should be more fitted at the top, but actually this is really quite baggy, this sweatshirt on me, and I like the baggy sweatshirt and the kind of wide leg pants. I feel super comfy in this. It is a bit more of a mooching around or taking the dog for a walk kind of a thing, but I'm very happy with that. These are the Stephen trousers from O's Patterns. I actually have 2 pairs of these. The other pair I made slightly narrower in the leg. Not sure why I don't have any pictures of them. So again, I was just having a little play with what looks best with these. What I do very much like is the shirts tucked into the Stephen trousers, and these trousers are super, could do with a bit of a press, but they are super comfy to wear. I loved making these as well. The other thing I might notice is that these are cropped and I haven't got any shoes on or boots with them, so that's something that I would probably look into now that it's got to winter. So if you're following the book, you've gathered all these photos, and then there's this big long list of questions that you're supposed to ask yourself and to examine all the images and everything you've got in front of you. And the first of those is, what is your favourite outfit that you wore and how did it make you feel? So my favourite outfit involves this skirt that I bought not that long ago, this pleat skirt, and it is this. So underneath the blazer I was just wearing a v-neck top and a skirt, my trusty DMs. There were actually bare legs under there because it was still not super cold yet, and then with the blazer and the handbag on top. And I was actually not feeling 100% that day, but we had tickets to something that we were going to see, and if I would say anything was me, it would be this. You don't see me wearing black very often. That's partly because I had my colours done and black was supposed to be a no-no, and it's partly practical because I've got a white dog. But I felt so comfortable in this outfit. I very much felt like I was being myself, and I loved being back in black, and I really want to start wearing black again. So that's something I've learned. I also love a long A-line skirt like this. And then these are me trying it with different things. And this was me on another day wearing it with bare legs and ballet flats, which looks fine, but now that it's got colder, that is definitely not happening. And this is my least favourite outfit during this time. I can't really explain why, but I hated wearing this combination. I wore it to the Minerva pop-up event in Manchester about a month ago. This is Minerva exclusive fabric, and this pattern is that Gertie pattern. I can't remember. It might be called something like the Celebration dress. I can't remember. And I think the dress is nice, and I think it fits me really nicely. It's very comfy to wear because it's a stretch fabric. There is nothing wrong with it, but I always felt the minute I made it that I didn't know when I would feasibly wear it. I thought I would pick out the black that was in the print, partly because it's what I had, and I wore these boots and this denim jacket. Okay, one of the things I don't like is that this denim is particularly rigid, and I have tried all the tricks in the book to get that to soften up, and all that's happened is I've managed to shrink it. So the sleeves are now a bit short, and I think it's going to get repurposed because it just feels like wearing cardboard. Maybe I need to make a black denim jacket. Anyway, I don't know why. There is something about this outfit I could not stand. So just quickly before we move on, the other thing was my knit dress that I got fairly recently that I wore not so long ago. I looked at ways knit dresses are styled, and I'll show you that in a minute, and got very little inspiration. So I was just trying it with different boots. I went out shopping with my daughter dressed like this, and I don't think it works at all. I really like this jacket that I made. It's a Sewing Revival pattern. Oh, it's called the Mallard jacket, and again that is boiled wool. It's a great one with jeans and whatnot, but I don't think it worked at all with this dress, and I don't think the boots worked because you can see it better in this photo. I didn't like this being able to see a bit of leg and then boot. I think if that was bare legs, you'd be amazed, by the way, how often autumn winter things are styled with bare legs. I've tried really hard, when I get to the next inspiration photos, I've tried really hard not to include the bare leg ones in, because what use is that to us? But yes, when it's this bit of tights and then my docks, I just didn't think that worked. So I tried it with longer boots, these kind of tan ones and these suede green ones. Probably that would work better, but I don't think this worked as a jacket at all. And then a couple of random ones. I just threw this one in to make you laugh because I was cheering my daughter up on the phone. I told her I'd bought some new pyjamas and sent her this photo, which made her howl laughing. And this pinafore dress that I made not so long ago, you see, look, I like how it looks with the bare legs and the rolled up socks and the docks. I really like that. But when that's tights, I don't know. I think for me, I like skirts when they're longer, and I have got a little bit of this fabric left over. So I haven't yet looked to see if I've got enough, but if I have, I may add a little bit on the bottom just to lengthen it. I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't make it longer in the first place. But if I haven't, then I just perhaps need to try longer boots. It's clearly my own personal pet peeve, but I think when there's tights, I don't like there to be a gap between the tights and the boots. Hey ho. Yeah, so lots of jumpers and jeans and just a couple of pairs of trousers. There are definite gaps and things that I don't have. I am severely lacking in dresses and skirts because things I made from previous years are not fitting any longer. And I also now don't have any of the wide leg tailored trousers. Last year I made some trousers from Bella Loves Patterns that were called the Billie trousers, and I loved wearing those. Those are super wide leg tailored pants. I did make, I'll show them to you because they're here. I did make another pair of them in my current size in this colour, which was probably more when I was thinking kind of slightly cooler weather. This fabric is a wool blend fabric that I bought in Fabworks back in February when we had a bit of a meet-up. Now, I wasn't the only person to buy this, quite a few people bought this fabric. And there's nothing wrong with these and they fit fine, but this fabric is a nightmare to press. Absolute nightmare. And I cannot get it to give me a nice finish at all. It's incredibly frustrating. It was sort of fine while I was sewing along the way, but overall it's a pain. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I have pressed this. I come at it again with, you know, renewed enthusiasm, and I've tried steaming as well, by the way. But I cannot, I don't know if that's going to show or not, I cannot get it to look good. And at the end of the day, what use is a pair of trousers that I can't press properly? Really frustrating. So yes, I definitely have a gap for some wide leg tailored pants and definitely for dresses and skirts. I also did the next stage, which was gathering all the inspiration, and yes, I did do it simultaneously, which you're not really supposed to do because you've got all of these questions that you're supposed to ask yourself once you've gathered the photographs of yourself. And as I said earlier, yes, there are things like the favourite and the least favourite. Things like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy were you with your overall outfits in these past 2 weeks? I'd say 7. This one I find really hard. Describe your current style in 3 adjectives. I don't know. I really struggle with this. I was actually thinking what I might do, and I know how basic this sounds, but I might Google adjectives that apply to style and go that way and pick out, do I think any of those apply to me? I don't know whether it's a kind of British thing. I just feel really uncomfortable describing myself. I don't know. Sounds like I need therapy or something, doesn't it? But yeah, the describe your style thing, I'm no closer to being able to do that. I find it really, really hard. So yes, there's that. list your 5, this is a big long list, so obviously if you've got the book, you'll go through it, but list your 5 most worn colours during the last 2 weeks. How do you feel these represent your individual preference for colours? And so on. It's things like, do you have a uniform? Do you prefer to be overdressed or underdressed? Underdressed, every time. I don't have a lifestyle where what I do with my days varies that much. You know, yes, we go out and we do things, but even when we go out and do things, they're fairly casual. Like, you know, we went to see Peter Kay, who's a comedian, went to see Peter Kay recently. We went to that dance thing where I wore the black pleated skirt. We've got membership to our local cinema, so we get all our tickets are included in that membership, so we go and see absolutely everything, unless it's Marvel. So we go to the cinema a lot, but all those things are quite casual. They're not super, super dressy. So I would probably pretty much wear the same thing to do any of those that I might during the day. The only difference might be that I might stick on a brighter lipstick, or maybe I might think about what I was wearing a little bit more, but I wouldn't necessarily be super dressy. I don't do anything super, super dressy. So why am I going off on that tangent? What was the question? Oh yeah, overdressed or underdressed. For me, underdressed every time. I can't think of anything worse than walking into somewhere and being overdressed. Anyway, you go through all of these questions to help you kind of hone down where you've got to, and then you write down your style goals. I haven't entirely done this yet, but there are 3 questions here to answer. What do you like about your style and your current wardrobe? Now, I find it very comfortable, and I like the fact that I am wearing more colours now than I have done in the past. I really love orange, I really love green, I'm really enjoying browns. Yeah, I like all the colour that oh, look at me, today I'm in colour. Which aspects of your style and wardrobe needs work? I've put, it's boring. I do think my wardrobe is a bit boring, and I don't really know quite how to overcome that, but I do feel that. What new skills do you want to learn? Well, I've put scarves, layering and jewellery. When I did a couple of some of those photographs where I had like a jumper that I just left long, and then I tried it either turned under or tried it with a t-shirt underneath, I definitely found that layering worked better, and that's something that I don't always think to do. So I'm now keeping my eyes peeled for how other people layer and trying to develop that as a skill. Scarves, I've always wanted to be a scarf person. I've only ever managed to be a scarf person in the winter, as in you've got your big wool coat on and a nice big wool scarf. Yes, I can do that, and I love doing that. But what I've never been good at is, I love it when you see people wearing a scarf during the day, you know, just with a t-shirt or a jumper, and pulling that off in a really kind of effortlessly chic way. I'd love to be a scarf person, and every now and then I try it and it just doesn't feel comfortable, and I'm not sure whether that's because I haven't got it right or whether it just feels uncomfortable because it's new and I need to just stick with it. So again, that's something I would like to improve. So with that all in mind, I then have gathered all the inspiration following the next set of instructions in the book. One thing I've noticed is that there are very, very few prints, and I now also have very, very few prints in my wardrobe because of this recent cull. The only prints that there are in me-made shirts that I've made, and most of them are ones I've had a little while and I'm kind of a bit bored of. So I think that's something I need to realise, is that whilst as sewists we get drawn to the lovely spangly prints, and I think there's an element of us that thinks, quick, I've got to buy it now because I won't be able to get my hands on it again. I am really continuing to resist that, because when it came to it, I didn't really save anything that was print at all. Anyway, back to the computer. Okay, so these boards here are loosely the inspiration boards, just to give me some semblance of order. I've put them in different categories. Let's start here. I've called this colour and print. The first section is pinstripes. I don't know why, but I have really always been drawn to pinstripes. I absolutely love them. They seem to be around every winter. They come and go as a trend. They really are calling to me. But my concerns, I've just put a couple of notes here, is that pinstripes feel very formal. However, I have just found an old jacket and trousers that go back from when I was dating my husband, so 1998, another thing that I've kept hold of all these years. And the jacket is not dissimilar to this. It's this kind of length, and then it comes with some matching trousers. They still fit. And part of me thinks, should I just attempt to wear them and see whether I'm going to integrate it into my wardrobe or not? Because my concern is that I don't live in a formal world. I don't go to an office. I don't need the kind of formality of pinstripes. But it just makes my heart sing. I really like the idea of it. Last winter, I bought some pinstripe fabrics. I have some, and it's black, and the stripe is an orangey, rusty colour. I'm just going to park it there for the moment, but I'm very drawn to the pinstripes. Okay, colours, brown and grey. Touched on this already. Definitely gone down a kind of hole. All these lovely shades of brown. I think they look beautiful. And I'm liking seeing a lot more grey around. I know people find it drab. There's something about it I really like as a neutral. And then this one I saved because we've got the two together, and I was thinking, does that work? Is that something I like the idea of? But as a general kind of, I don't know, we'd say theme, but as a general set of colours that I want to introduce into my wardrobe, I'm definitely going this route. Then I've gone checks. Okay, it's not a print, but it's checks. Checks seem to be on trend at the moment, but again, something I really like and haven't really done a whole lot of. So something I like the look of. And then these are just colour combinations that I've seen that I've been really drawn to. I'm a big fan of orange, and I loved the orange with this, what do we call this? Sort of dark sandy colour. I think that looks really great. I loved this. This is Cat Farmer, although for some reason it's not her Instagram. But anyway, I loved the combination of these greens that she wore. Brilliant. And these, and look how nice the red looks with that. Oh, beautiful. And of course I'm always going to be attracted to green. So I just saved those because they were colour combinations that I liked. Let's look at outerwear. Okay, close the unsorted. Right, long wool coats. I am a big fan of a long wool coat. I absolutely adore them. And what I've really noticed is that they work with pretty much any outfit you've got. So if you look at these images, we've got your woman here who's got her leggings and her Uggs on. Your woman here who's pretty casual as well. Then we're going a little bit more formal. We've got a long knit dress. I've got a long knit dress and I'm struggling to know what outerwear to wear with it. Perhaps the long wool coat is the option. And I really like all of them. So that is something I definitely want to do. Now, moving down here, this is the traveller coat that I made a couple of years ago now. It's the pattern from Bella Loves Patterns. I adore it and I would wholeheartedly recommend it. It does feel a bit heavy and it does feel a little bit formal at times. I don't know why, but it just does. This here is the Style Art Parker coat, which I showed you earlier. I had one in green boiled wool. And then there's this one. Any OG subscribers might remember back in the day, I made this out of grey wool and I used a variegated overlocker thread. So that was how it looked on the inside. And I think it was pretty much the first time I wore it, or very early on, I left it on the train from London. Never to be seen again. I'm still very upset about it. So What I am thinking is that all these years later, enough time has gone by that I can let it go, and I am going to make another of these Stylark Parker coats. I have some grey double-faced wool that I bought recently from Simply Fabrics, and it's going to be the next thing I make. It is a really easy coat to make. It's kind of coat come coatigan. I can tell that on this version I added length to it, and I'm going to do the same thing again. What I'm hoping is that grey coat will work for pretty much anything I'm wearing, like in these images here. And what I like about the fact that it's unlined and it has more of a coatigan feel is it just does feel a little bit more versatile, a bit more kind of portable. And you know, sometimes you're just going from car to shop, or you're just dashing in and out of places, and you don't necessarily want something as heavy and as formal as a kind of big wool coat, and this kind of bridges the gap. Right, next is blazers. Well, no surprises why I saved all of these, because I've just made something that's possibly similar to this. So I was looking at how these were styled. I loved the layering. Remember I said I wanted to look into layering. And I was looking at the different leg shapes. You've got, you know, wide leg tailored trousers here, straight leg jeans there. Look, bare feet. Bare feet. Anyway, so I was just looking at all these. How beautiful does that velvet jacket look there? I don't know, I'd be brave enough to sew a velvet jacket, but that just, makes my heart sing. And I was also looking at the colour combinations with this lot. Look, you know, those kind of wine trousers with the browns and just think it all looks lovely. Then what have I got down here? Casual jackets. So you've got the more bomber style. I have said a couple of times I'm planning to make a bomber style jacket, which I still haven't got around to making. And then this style, which is sort of connected but not the same as a bomber jacket. I could do with something like this, but it's not high up on the list of priorities. It's more something that I'm drawn to, but I very much like that kind of smart, casual, layered again, like all of that. Okay, let's go to bottoms. Okay, so the wide leg tailored trousers, they are everywhere at the moment. Lots of different colours here, some with pleats, mostly with pleats, but some flat fronted. And I was looking at things like, how have they been styled? What are they wearing on top? You know, we've got the big old chunky polo neck jumper with a bit of a French tuck or a side tuck. The sweater vest again. And waistcoats. Bit of layering. So I was looking at all of that, and then I was also looking at what are they wearing on their feet. As you can see, we've got trainers. I like wide leg trousers with a kind of round-toed shoe. I think that's why I keep wearing my Uggs slippers, because I like the kind of round toe shape. Yeah, what have I put here? These were my notes. Tops, chunky fine layers shirts, long sleeve tees, waistcoats, tucked French belts. Belts question mark, yeah, some were with belts and some didn't. Shoes, and the length, yeah, has to be long. You don't want them kind of, like even that I would question. That's a bit high off the ground. They need to be almost dragging. I wouldn't drag quite as much as that. But anyway. Okay, so this is the green, me and the green pair that I made last year that no longer fit, and that is the Bella Loves Patterns sewing pattern. Other sewing patterns, if you fancy doing anything like this, there's the Vicky Sews Karen trousers. I haven't made them, can't vouch for it, but they look really nice. And also the Closet Core Mitchell trousers are very popular. The only thing I would say about these Billie trousers, I love, love, love her instructions. She's got a tailoring background and you can really tell that. They are almost a tad too wide, I would say. So I'm going to have a look at them and see whether that's something I can adjust myself. And if not, I might go for, I like these Vicky Sews ones. I might give those a try. But first stop would be to see how I get on and whether I feel I can just slim them down just a tiny, tiny bit. Next, we've got wide leg again, definitely drawn to wide leg, keeps coming up for me, but these are the stretch ones. So by stretch, I mean like a Ponte. So these ones from Wise with the stripes, Marks and Spencer's. Oh yeah, those are Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's makes something very similar. Secret pyjamas, absolutely, definitely secret pyjamas, without a shadow of a doubt. And the pattern, I've already bought it, I've mentioned it a couple of times, is from Pattern Emporium, and it's these Walk Boldly wide leg pants. As always, they come with quite a few different options and different pockets, and they have a really good size range. The key to making these is to get the good quality Ponte, the one that's a viscose blend and not a poly blend. But this is definitely on my list. I literally cannot wait until I've got time to make them. And I'm interested also by the fact that the ones I was drawn to are all different colours and not necessarily just what you would go to think of, which would be, you know, kind of navy or, well, I never choose navy, but navy or black or grey. I like the idea of it being something with a bit of colour. Okay. Cargo trousers, well, you know, you can see why I was looking at these, because I have some and I was looking at how they've been styled, and I was looking at things like what footwear. I was glad that I did, because this one, although they're not the same because they're not gathered, she's wearing Converse high tops, and I have exactly those Converse high tops, and I thought actually that would work really well, I think, with the gathering round here. And I was interested to see this one had docks. And I was just looking at, you know, how they're styled. Are they tucking? Are they big and bulky? This one, she's even got them with a blazer, you know, whether they're wearing them with boots and all the rest of it. And then we're still on wide legs, but gathered and drawstring waist. So these are the Seguro set from Friday Pattern Company. I've made 2 out of double gauze, as you can see, this one and this one, and I absolutely adore them. I wear the brown ones more, it's just a bit more of a versatile colour. Love wearing them, but it's not a winter fabric, double gauze, by any means. But yeah, I'm on the hunt for a fabric that's going to give me enough drape that I can make a pair out of them, but is also winter appropriate. So that's just something I'm keeping my eyes out for, because I've only put them downstairs in the cellar about 3 days ago and I'm already missing them, but they are just not warm enough for this time of day, this time of year. This is something I don't have, but you can see it's possibly inspired by that pleat skirt of mine, and it's long A-line skirts. And this, I cannot tell you how many long A-line skirt images I saved. I am so drawn to this as a look. It's just ridiculous. I love the length. They've got to be long, even as long as this one. I love, love, love the length. I like the variations we've got here. This is a Dior one which has pleats and blah blah blah, and an asymmetric one in pinstripes. But this kind of thing, look how nice this is with the little waist wallety bag thing. I have not yet worked out which sewing pattern I would go for. Off the top of my head, I feel like the assembly line is the kind of pattern company I would go and have a look at first. I feel it's the sort of thing they do well. But if anybody has got any ideas of this kind of thing, let me know, because maybe that's what I do. Maybe that's where I bring the pinstripes in. Maybe I make it out of my pinstripe fabric. Anyway, that's where I got to with that. And again, I was looking at things like what shoes and what fabric. Just took a few pictures of long pleat skirts because I have one and I wanted to see how that was styled. And then this section here, can I wear a mini? Okay. I thought this is actually the one that got me first, was this one from Gap. You know, with the mini and the knee-high boots and the tights and the jumper. I know I love wearing that combination. I haven't worn it for years because I have felt that I ought not to be doing that at my age. Now, logically and intellectually, I know that is absolute rubbish and I can wear what the hell I want when I want. But that's not the same as I would actually wear it and then leave the house and not feel very uncomfortable. but I want to. I don't know. I just don't know. So, unresolved on that one. Next couple of things are just jeans. Just these straight jeans. I've got loads of pairs of straight jeans that stop at this length, so I just wanted to look at how they were styled. But I do think that I am lacking in my wardrobe a pair of blue denim jeans that are full length. I've kind of been wearing this cropped length for so long that the full length straight ones, not the wide leg, but the full length straight ones feel a bit foreign to me right now. And I think that's something I need to overcome. And then these flared jeans with the front patch pockets. Clearly that's slightly because of the pair that I have. I'm thinking that I would like to make a pair but that are high-waisted so that I don't have the issue that I have right now because they are low-waisted. I'd like to have a high-waisted pair so that I can tuck things in and feel very comfortable. I know I've seen a sewing pattern somewhere for exactly that style with a flared leg, and I can't remember where, so I need to kind of look into that. And then the other idea I had was, who's to say I couldn't make some that weren't in denim and out of some kind of and I think I would really enjoy that too. Pencil skirts I saved a lot of. However, I am not entirely convinced that I would wear them. I like these kind of fabrics, I like the cord and I like the tweed. These are all fairly similar shapes and styles. I like this one, but I have got a pair of boots that are very similar to these and I've never worn them. But yeah, I don't know. It's the sort of thing I like the look of. I made a brown cord pencil skirt last year for Minerva. It's one of the things I can't wear anymore, but I didn't really wear it a great deal. So I'm in two minds about whether that's something that I will actually do or not. What's that over there? Oh yeah, it's just another one. And that's it for bottoms. Okay, sweater knit vests. You can see I'm sort of obviously looking at those because I bought one recently and I'm also really drawn to this Fair Isle one here. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. But I wanted to look at how they're being styled and again, layering. Layering is something I need to learn how to do. Dig out the grey knits I've already mentioned. Oversized cardigans. Okay, there's a reason for this, and it's because I'm currently knitting a cocoon shaped cardigan, and so I wanted to look at how people are styling those. This one here is a knitting pattern from Petite Knit. But yeah, again, I just was looking at the styling and I really like how this looks here, just with the straight leg jeans and the Birkenstock style shoes. Woven waistcoats, right. I have a hankering to sew a waistcoat. I have enough of the same fabric I've just made my blazer out of. So do I go for a matching one? And I wanted to explore again how, a lot of the images of waistcoats will be with bare arms and nothing underneath it. And yes, that looks beautiful in a picture, but it's not practical. So I really was looking out for how they're styled with something underneath and what that something is. So I've come to the conclusion that yes, I do like how they look and I do want to make one. And a couple of options here. I'm pretty sure I already have bought this pattern. Bella Loves Patterns Bennie, but there is also one from Style Arc. And then last but not least, put this just in the corner because this is from Mint Velvet and not really a sequin person, but I was thinking the Arvo shirt from O's Patterns that I've made recently is one that you could definitely replicate that. Okay, nearly there. Dresses. Sweater dresses. Obviously, as I say, I've got one. Look how bland the styling is of all of these. They are basically just a big old jumper and a pair of boots. I was hoping to get some inspiration for doing something a bit more interesting, but I'm yet to find it. So, yeah, I don't know, TBC. And then I saw a lot of these bias cut satin skirts, lots of them. And I have made a couple myself in the past, and I'm kind of drawn to it, and I also have a question mark over them. So the reason I have a question mark is that, for starters, I feel like it's really, really important that you get a really good fabric. Like, I personally think this looks pretty rubbish and cheap. I mean, initially the image looks great, but look at that fabric. And they're always elasticated at the waist because of the nature of the bias cut. And I think that is a little bit tricky. You can't really, you notice nothing is tucked in that you can see the waist. It gives a limitation. And I also have this issue that when I was on holiday not that long ago, we saw somebody wearing one of these, and I saw it and thought, oh, that looks lovely. And my husband said, why is she wearing a skirt made out of lining material? And that really put me off as well. But at the same time, I'm kind of drawn to it. Maybe it's because it ties in with that whole long skirt aesthetic that I clearly like. So then I looked at these ones here where it's not the satin option, but it's a print option. I think they work well. Maybe not quite as striking. And then I was thinking the other issue that we have, of course, with these bias cut skirts is that I like the ones, yet again, that are very long. And I've not ever managed to do that with a homemade or a me-made version, because the pattern has to sit, obviously, on the bias on your fabric. You are limited. The length of the skirt is limited by the width of the fabric. And I've never managed to get one as long as I would like. So that becomes difficult. So I then looked at, so that is the one I made. I'm fairly sure that's the one I made that's a free sewing pattern. So then I looked at these, which are dresses from All Saints, and they are basically a satin slip dress, and then it comes with a little cropped jumper that you wear over the top. And I have been drawn to these for a couple of years. They seem to have done them certainly the last 2 years. And I was thinking, is the answer to go that route rather than a skirt? The other issue, of course, is that they're clingy and they can be a little bit unforgiving. And I don't know that makes it that wearable. I think it looks great, but at the same time, I find myself being very aware of sort of lumps and bumps because of the nature of the clinginess. So that led me to think, is the answer not to go for something like a slip dress but cut on the straight grain? So this is one from Hush that they do, and obviously it doesn't have anything like the same shape or the same drape as the bias cut ones, but at the same time, it has pros and cons. It's not going to cling, but it doesn't have the same amount of drape. But if I went that route, then the option, sewing pattern wise, is to go for the Saltwater slip, which is from the Friday Pattern Company, because that would make life easy. You can make it as long as you like because it's not cut on the bias, and I think that would make a really good option. I'm not entirely sure that I'm going to go for it, but that's kind of in my mind. And the other thing that occurred to me, which is a sort of variation on a theme, is also All Saints do a similar thing, which is a knit dress. So it's a tighter fitted knit dress with a cropped jumper on top. And this is a knit dress I made. Unfortunately, that fabric has died the death. It wasn't expensive and it's all gone bobbly and revolting, which is one of the reasons why I'm looking for nice sweater knit fabric. But this is the Pattern Emporium Entice Me dress. I was thinking you could make that out of a sweater knit, and then you make a little crop jumper on top, so you could use something like the Unwind pattern from Pattern Emporium. There is a cropped version of it, or there's loads of patterns. Most of us who've got a sweater pattern could probably make a variation, and I thought that was an option to go down. And last but not least, I saw this picture of Claudia Winkleman, the fancy schmancy section, and yeah, look how beautiful that looks. It's not exactly the same as the Fabric Godmother Peony, but it's that kind of a vibe, and I just wanted to keep hold of it just in case I have a bit of a do to go to. And the absolute last one, it's very quick, so don't worry, is accessories. Just kept a couple of images because, as I said, I'd like to be a scarf person, and a couple of images of jewellery. I tend to wear gold jewellery, and I tend to try to change it around every day, but I definitely go understated, and I really would like to be a little bit bolder with it. I like this multiple chains, all sorts of different things, so that's something that I'm kind of keeping my eyes on and just trying to be more aware of. Okay. I'm concerned that this video is a bit long because I've just finished going through those images and there was a lot there. So to just conclude quickly, because you'll probably all be sick of me by this point, once I've done all of that, the next stage is to write a list of all the things that you like. So it says things like just the overall vibe, certain individual items, colours, silhouettes, styling, materials, and that sort of thing. And then what you're supposed to do is go out to the shops and not buy anything, but go out to the shops and try on some of the ideas that you've had from the images that you've saved, some of the things that you're thinking you would like to buy, or in our case, make, and take photos and see and have a little play. You know, does it work better if it's tucked or not tucked, or, you know, have a little play with the styling of all the individual items. I am very tempted to just ignore that stage and go on to sewing patterns, and as you can see, I've already, you know, started to think about sewing patterns, but I am going to take the advice of the book and I am going to do that. I'm going to go into Manchester. If I'm brave enough, I'll try and take photos and pictures. If there are a lot of people around, I am just not confident enough to do that in front of other people, but we'll see how I get on. I do think it's a good idea. I'm going to use my little sweater vest that I've been showing you as an example, because I bought that while I was away in Germany and I didn't try it on. I just picked my size and it fits me fine. I know now what I should have learned if I'd tried it on in the shop, which is that it would have been a bit better to have bought a bigger size that was a bit looser and that I could get a shirt collar underneath, and that just would have worked better. So I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to do the next stage. When that will be, I don't know, possibly not until next week, but we'll see how we do. And I say that because what I definitely am going to do next, once I finished my jacket, is make that Style Arc Parker coat. I am telling you, it is the easiest coat to sew. So if you're somebody that's fancied making a coat and is a bit overwhelmed by anything that needs lots of tailoring, or, you know, if you've seen me making this jacket and thought that looks too much and I couldn't make outerwear, this Style Arc coat is one that you can make. So I've got this double-faced wool from Simply Fabrics in grey. I told you I was fancying grey. So it's lighter on one side than the other. That's the only thing. So for the Style Arc coat, it needs to be a fabric that doesn't have an obvious wrong side, because it is unlined. And I'm going to do the same thing and use that variegated thread. So I'm sorry if I've gone on a bit, but there was a lot and I have enjoyed, it has felt a little bit like homework at times, but I am enjoying the process. Anyway, thank you very much everyone. Do let me know any ideas you have in the comments. I really, really do appreciate them. Any sewing patterns that you might have seen that might fit the bill, especially for that A-line skirt that I definitely want. And what else was it? Oh, the trousers or jeans with the front patch pockets. I know I've seen some somewhere and I can't think where it is. And I will be back very soon to report on how I get on with this Parker coat. I might do what I did recently, whereas I might kind of just record me doing it along the way, because I want you to realise how simple a coat that is to sew. Okay, thanks everyone. Sorry for the long wait in between videos. Bye bye.